Oh, what's up everyone? This is Mr. Nice Guy. Today I'm actually gonna be professional and talk about something that I do for a living. That is fashion. Yep, I'm a straight guy who draws clothes for a living. Judge me, come on. And I also drive a Prius. But before I want to talk about what to wear, I want to start with the basic. Let me get something straight. Fashion design is not as easy as you think it is. And just like every single other job in the world, there are a lot of things you need to know before you become a good apparel designer. So for today, I will talk about fabrics. So in the apparel industry, fabrics are basically divided into 3 categories. That is knit, woven, thank you mom, and specialty fabric. So today I have a set of clothes here and I'm gonna talk about each and every single one of them. And today we'll only focus on the knit fabric. That is jersey, interlock, rib, French terry, and fleece. Also some treatment and yarn quality. So let's get started. So let's start with jersey fabric. You'll see these a lot because most t-shirts are made out of this fabric. And it's actually one of the most used fabric in the apparel industry. It's very lightweight, depends on the size of the yarn. On the right side of the jersey fabric, you'll see how this fabric is knitted right down the grain line. And on the wrong side of the fabric, you'll see some very small loops to create the knit that is in the front. Jersey fabrics are very stretchy, but the recovery is usually not as nice as other construction. Jersey is also one of the cheapest ways to make fabric because it requires the least amount of yarn. Next one we have interlock or double knit. What interlock is actually double-sided jersey. So for jersey, you will see the knit line down from the grain, and on the wrong side of the fabric, you will see small loops to form the construction. But for interlock, the right side of the fabric and the wrong side of the fabric are actually identical. Interlocks are usually heavier than jersey, also depends on the yarn size and the materials that they made it with. Interlocks also have good stretch and the recovery is better than jersey. So you will see interlock fabric a lot on higher end brand, usually with their long sleeve t-shirts. Because it's like a double knit, so it's like jersey without looking bulky and still have the drape. Next we have is a rib. There are many different type of ribs, like 1x1, 2x2, or 2x4. Rib is very similar to interlock, but during the construction of the fabric, they will skip one line, so it creates this texture. Ribs are also very dense in construction, so it is usually heavier than jersey or interlock. Also because it is usually used for the opening of the garment, like the neck, the sleeve, and the hem. Usually the stretchability and the recovery is really good. And because their purpose is to stretch, so spandex are usually applied when they're making the yarn. Spandex also make the yarn heavier. Ribs are usually made for openings like this and sleeve opening. Also a woman's tank top, because when you wear it, it's really close to the body and it's stretched according to your body shape, and that will show woman's body figure better. Kinda sexy, huh? Next one is a French terry. On the outside, it kinda just looks like jersey or the interlock. But what makes it a French terry is actually on the inside, or the wrong side of the fabric. It has a very distinctive look, and all these small loops make it look like fish scale. French terry are usually thicker and also more durable. You see them on a lot of jacket, hoodies, and long sleeve winter t-shirts. There are different type of French terries and for different use. I know some legging companies use French terry with their stretched denim line. And because of the texture that it gives, a lot of designers use the wrong side of the fabric for their collections as well. Because it really gives the garment more dimension and a little bit more texture, some personality. Next one we have the fleece. Fleece are usually like this. Like the fiber, you can see it and it's kind of like a furry feelings to it. There are many different type of fleece: micro fleece, polar fleece, micro polar fleece, brushed fleece, or regular fleece. Fleece are usually thicker and are usually made for long pants, winter jackets, and sometimes pajamas. Micro fleece and polo fleece are in synthetic fabric, usually in sportswear brands like Nike Storm Fleece, Water Repel Fleece, that kind of stuff. Because polyester fabric can be really thin. So unlike natural fiber like cotton, where the size is kind of determined already, polyester fiber can be as thin as you want. But brushed fleece can be made in natural fiber. So what they do is they find a French terry like this, and then they have a machine full of needles and brush on it until it becomes something like this. Now we understand the construction of knit fabric, we'll go a little bit into the yarn. What I have here is a slub jersey. It has a very distinctive looks to it, but if you look closely, you will find that it's actually the uneven of the distribution of the yarn that creates this kind of effect. So if you put slub yarn into different machine, it will come out to be different. If you put slub yarn in a jersey machine, it's gonna become slub jersey. A French terry machine is gonna be slub French terry. Fleece machine, slub fleece. Rib machine, slub rib. And it really depends on what the designers want. Slub fabrication can make a simple t-shirt add texture to it without any special treatment. So next time you see it, you'll know it's slub yarn. Now I want to talk about heather. There are basically two types of heather. Heather and true heather. So let's start with the regular heather. What's the difference between the two are the yarns that they use. So for regular heather, it's usually made out of two materials, cotton poly or nylon poly. And because the two materials don't catch the color the same way and requires different temperatures to dye. So let's say you put this piece into dyeing machine, only the cotton will dye. So it will become this heather look. This one I have here is 60% cotton and 40% poly. And you can tell the heather effect is from the single dye. There are also double dye and over dye. They're all different methods to make different texture on a fabric. Next one is true heather, which makes the yarn itself has the heather effect. So the main difference between heather and true heather is that one is piece dye or fabric dye, one is like a yarn dye. The good thing about true heather is that because it is the same material all over, so it's actually much easier to control the shrinkage of the fabric. And the second thing is, this is 100% modal heather. You don't really want to mess with the hand and add polyester into it because modal really has a good hand on it. So that's the difference between heather and true heather. And there is another way to make heather effect, by yarn dye. If you look closely, so for this one it's a space dye yarn. So space dye yarn are the yarns that are partially dyed. So it will create this effect of unevenness. If you take a closer look, you can tell that every single needle has only one color. It's a two-color space dye yarn. And the main difference is, when you see it, it's really sharp and it's very clear. And the lines on it are very clean. Alright, so this is the first class of Mr. Nice Guy's Fashion 101. There are millions of fabrication on the world, but I'm just talking about the mass production one. Today we only focus on the knit fabric. And on the next video, I will talk about woven fabric and specialty fabric. So hope today I gave out some good information. If you liked today's video and you feel like you learned something, please drop a like. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for my future uploads. This is Mr. Nice Guy, and I'll see you guys next time.